let's talk about the Democratic establishment players, people in power, whether they're in journalism, whether they're in a position, a political position, literally a political position of power. It seems that a bunch of them recently are, quote unquote, leaving the Democratic Party or leaving the establishment, going independent, telling all, writing books. They want everyone to know that they've changed their ways and they're seeing the light. It's pretty remarkable, but it is about selling books, and it's about, I guess, not incriminating yourself, as history will tell who were the bad actors when we look back at this time. So right now, the newest one up to go independent and try and sell a book is former White House press secretary herself, Karine Jean-Pierre. She has officially left the Democratic Party, and as she become independent, she actually has a book. I kid you not. Let's put this up. So she is leaving it. This is from ABC, former White House press secretary. She's leaving the Democratic Party and becomes, quote unquote, independent. What's next? It's the book. Here's the book. Pretty interesting from Eric Daughtry. Pretty interesting how Jake Tapper, if you guys remember that, we reported on that. That's the one on the right. That's called Original Sin. Jake Tapper, Democrat reporter, we'll just say establishment reporter, who covered up for Biden. And now Karine Jean-Pierre, former Democratic official who covered up for Biden as well, are now both selling books centered around bucking the very Democratic establishment they upheld for years. Here's another one. This one, I don't know if this was so much selling a book, but this is definitely to relieve their own liability in the war crimes of Israel. But another establishment player, former Secretary Department press secretary, Matt Miller, he's trying to whitewash now his covering up of Israel's war crimes in Gaza. On a podcast, he admits that, yes, they actually did occur. The very thing he denied for a year as an official. Let's play a mashup of Matt Miller now versus when he was lying on behest of Israel. Yeah, this is insane that these people are doing this so quickly after they left office. But here we go. Matt Miller giving away the game after he's out of office.
Site where Hamas is hiding inside a school, other militants are hiding inside a school. Those individuals are legitimate targets, but at the same time, they're embedded near civilians. Israel has a right to try and target those civilians.
Gaza has been such a horrific situation for so long.
It's not productive to call on Israel to stand down on any one military tactic.
The effect of that war was crushing. Crushing. To look at what was happening to children every day in that war.
How is it to come that UN, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty, International Criminal Court can all find compelling evidence of war crimes by Israel, and the United States, with its enormous powers of intelligence and direct contact with Israel, can't find those things?
I would say that different organizations have different burdens, different responsibilities, and we take ours very seriously and are taking these assessments very seriously and want to finish them as soon as possible, but it's important that we get them right.
Gaza has been such a horrific situation for so long.
Don't you think that's something that the State Department should consider launching an atrocity determination on, given that you've also said in your NSM report that it is possible that there may have been violations?
So we do have processes ongoing to look at whether there have been violations of international humanitarian law.
Is atrocity determination one of them?
I'm not going to speak to that in specific, but that's why the president says the answer to that question is uncertain, is because we don't know the answer.
To look at what was happening to children every day in that war.
So despite these assessments, you think there is no change in the U.S. policy to continue providing arms to Israel?
There is no change in our policy. As you know, we've paused one shipment. We have not, but we have not changed our overall policy, and we will continue to support Israel's security.
Gaza has been such a horrific situation for so long.
We have always made clear that we are committed to the defense of Israel. We will continue to support the defense of Israel.
I think it is without a doubt true that Israel has committed war crimes.
There it is. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. And then the guy he's talking to on the podcast, He says back.
You wouldn't have said that at the podium. Yeah, look, because when you're at the podium, you're not expressing your personal opinion. You're expressing the conclusions of the United States government. The United States government had not concluded that they've committed war crimes. Still have not concluded that.
But your personal view is they have.
And
they were while you were there.
But yes.
There it is.
Yes,
it.
but let me talk my way out of it really quickly.
Yeah, that's it. So he's saying that's the job. So these jobs they're not real jobs. Isn't this enough for people to see? Like whether it's Jake Tapper, whether it's what's her name, Jean-Pierre, whether it's Matt Miller, are people understanding now that these jobs are not they're not real? They're just lying mouthpieces. They're just theater. Why do we even waste our time listening to anything that any of these people have to say when they're in a position where they're given top-down instructions of what lies to tell every day, and then when they get out of the job, they tell us that they were given these lies to tell every day, and then they, like you said, it's not my fault that my job was to lie for them. Now I can tell you what I really think. So why are we listening to any of these people ever again? How can anyone still support watching CNN or let's hear what the press secretary has to say, whether it's Biden, Trump, anybody's press secretary? Why should we listen to any of this ever again? I mean, you and I know that answer, but I don't know how anyone else
when you listen to it, you understand that that's coming from the perspective of the government, right? Like he was even saying, I have to speak for the government. I can't speak personally, but there were other people who were in his position, maybe not at the podium, but within that cabinet that resigned because they refused to tell those lies. And that's how we would have known Matt Miller would have been like a real G if he would have done that, if he would have given up his position and said, I can't do this no more in good faith, and had the same podcast while it was actually happening, right? No, instead he waited until he was done. Same with Jean Pierre, who's probably the worst press secretary of all times. I mean, she was just so bad, unaware, just such a, just completely. She was an activist tied to the woke movements. And that she expressed that every single day over there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she's a Haitian woman, and while Haitians are getting slaughtered and getting starved out of their own country, she was silent on it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I really don't care to hear from these people, but, that is something that's a quagmire of ours, is that people will still condone it. They will say, oh, he has to say that in his position, otherwise he wouldn't have that position. Well, then good. Quit your position. You know what I'm saying? Leave your position. They were saying this about Tulsi during her confirmation hearing and RFK during his confirmation. If they don't say these things, they won't get confirmed and they can't do the job they need to do. Yeah, we can't make excuses for those people. Then that's the old way of doing business. And then where has it gotten us? Nowhere. Yeah, we want people to be pioneers. We want people to be voice the truth of what's going on and being truth tellers. So if they're going along to get along, they can never ever be trusted. And that's just the end of the day. Not to mention when it comes to Matt Miller and Jean Pierre, they're both very boring too. So it's a good thing. I don't know who wants to follow them. I'd rather watch paint dry than hearing those guys talk on a podcast.
Yeah, who's actually going to buy these books? Are you really really these books? This isn't. I mean, and she puts a picture of Independence Day. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like the movie. It looks like the Will Smith movie poster from 1990.
The UFO behind the cloud there.
Yeah. So you're telling us, like, because that's the imagery you're using on the cover, and you want to make money. You want people to buy this thing. It's pretty disgusting. I don't know who would buy this. I'd rather go watch Will Smith in Independence Day than read this book. Yeah, I said it. I'd rather watch that because at least you can go back and go, did we have these graphics back in 1996? Oh, it's interesting. But no, this is all theater, and she's telling us that. They're all telling us that it's all theater. But we knew this. It's like they can't even wait like a year or two. They got to do it right away.
You just got to think about the mentality in which the social engineers and the ruling class say it's okay to release these things, that people will still accept it. And it's a form of conditioning. These books are actually a form of conditioning. You don't have to read them. You just have to see it. Oh, Jean Pierre left the Democratic Party, whatnot, and she's going to say this stuff. Oh, Matt Miller is saying that he knew stuff was going on, but he couldn't say it because he was representing the government. Oh, no, duh. I mean, but, it is a form of conditioning, right? Yep. They're conditioning us to say that this is how it is. It's corrupt. The whole system's corrupt, but accept it.
Yeah.
You know how many times we people, oh, that's been going on for years. Yeah, but that doesn't make it okay.
Exactly. Well, I want to throw Max up here because he definitely chimed in on this one. Matt Miller from Max Blumenthal, a real journalist. Matt Miller says it was his job to deny Israeli war crimes and that he knew were taking place. Imagine the level of sociopathy required to perform that task for almost 2 years, day in and day out.
There's a lot of sociopaths out there.
Yeah. And he's just saying it like, oh, yeah, that was my opinion, but I had to lie on their behalf. So he's saying it on the podcast and like he's doing it like with no shame. So that's good for Max pointing that out. And there it is. There's Ryan Clark asking, will Max Blumenthal ever get an apology from Matt Miller? I think we know the answer to that question. I think that was a rhetorical question, but we know that what Max went through is trying to do real journalism with real integrity, getting a stare back like that face of Matt Miller doing his job, which is protecting the war machine, psychopath, genocide, money laundering scheme. That's the face you get. It's literally like a Joker face. It's a Batman villain. That's what you're looking at. But no, that apology is not coming, and I don't think any of us are holding our breath for it.
Yeah. And I think Jacob Bitterman put it best. KG, the books bought by donors will be bought by donors, just like outrageous speaking fees. That's what they'll do. They'll have some events where she'll be speaking. The person who booked the event, who's just spending money to write off anyways, going to purchase like 500 of those books, and everybody who shows up will get a book. It will be in the ad. You get up, you get the free book, and have shit like that go on to get rid of some of these books. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The donors buy a bunch. And it is sad because not anybody, I don't know who would be interested in that stuff. Like I said, two of the most boring people, they're the two most full of shit, but two of the most boring people out there. So, yeah.